to do this. And then I guess I put me back. Hey, that works. And then I need to share my screen. It needs to be here. And then I'm not sharing my screen still. Oh, I am. Don't show my screen. And then we will do bracket, which is pony, and then vex, and then jump to the other side, not, and then Allura, and then, oh, I guess I should come here and make sure that it is what it's supposed to be. I come here, nope, I come here, I click this. I do not wish for it to be public. Details, visibility, members only, all channels, done, save. If people snuck in, they snuck in. It's okay. And then I'll go ahead and just share the link. Need this. We go to announcements. Yo, at lives. Stream. Okay. I can get rid of that now. And then this is good. And then, what's up?
I'm catching up in Andrew's Discord. TLDR. So Wub's local game store that they play at had gotten robbed a couple months back or whatever, maybe a couple weeks ago.
Damn.
They caught the guy, but when the guy robbed the card store, he was wearing a Spider-Man outfit. They caught him. Instead of posting a picture of the dude, they just posted a picture of Spider-Man behind bars. And so then people are now posting J. Jonah Jameson. Fucking, it's fucking so funny, dude. He's like, he's doing a jig. I want Spider-Man.
I put them in backwards. It's weird. This is second. Here. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, this is just all. It's all wrong. Where's freaking not? Need you to be third. Well, then where is you versus you, you versus you. Yeah, you versus you, you versus you. Dope. Okay. Okay. I now do this, and then I click on this, and then it is that. Why are you like this? I think it's because what I have to do is this here. Beep bop boop. We're having fun. Okay. And now when I do this, There's the bracket. Love it. I'll do this. And then it still looks good. Okay. I'm going to eat one cheese curd before they get cold.
They're already cold, dude.
Too late. Absolutely too late.
Cheese curds only have 2 temperatures: molten lava, cold,
frigid.
There's no in between.
Yeah. Right. Yo, what up? I have hit the record button. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly Top 8 Recap Podcast, where me and Barrett, directly before this podcast, played and recorded a full Top 8 bracket for you guys to see over on YouTube before, after, whatever this event. So, with that said, this is a bit of spoilers for what happened inside of the thing recorded tonight. If you're catching this live, or if you're catching this over on YouTube and you have not watched that stuff, realize that we're just gonna potentially spoil the heck out of it. So if you want the entertainment, go check those matches out as they will be uploaded. They should be uploaded by the time you see this, or whatever.
This podcast will still be here
Correct.
when you're done watching that. Go watch that first. It was a good time tonight. So
it was fun. It was very, very fun. But with that, before we get into any card game stuff, Barrett, how are you, buddy? How's life?
I'm good. It's a nice Thursday after Denver. I had a great weekend. I hope people that were playing the game had a good weekend. Yeah, just chilling. I'm excited for more competitive universes, but it feels like even with a regional every month, I'm still sitting here waiting. So
yeah. Well, luckily, I mean, there are two. Let me show for a second. There are two big events happening here fairly soon. There are the Rockford Case Tournament, right, at Boar's Head. Two double case tournament. I know a lot of people are going to be going to that, as well as we're both going, as well as there is a 2.5K happening down in Florida that I know is like 64 people max get to play in that. If it hits 64 players, then the next one that they do is going to be a 5K. And so I really, really implore everybody to try and go there. It's just
when
more.
Is that?
When?
I don't know that.
It's like September. It just got announced yesterday. Full disclosure, hashtag ad.
At all.
Hashtag ad. They reached out for me to advertise the thing, and so that's the reason that I know a bunch of it. It's put on by Stark Dark. Yeah, yes, but no, right? Like it'll be a different format than we are here, but like there is more events happening in that little stretch. You're not going to have to wait, as well as David is finalizing I shouldn't be leaking this. David is finalizing the details on his circuit, which you're more than welcome to play it.
We could only assume he was going to do it again.
Yeah.
Right?
But with that,
it's just about when.
But with that, we've got plenty to talk about here. And so what we're going to do now, everybody, this is officially entering spoiler territory. Let's talk about the event that we played tonight. Man, this was super fun, and I don't think it was just because of the characters that I played. I thought the decks had a lot of expression, a lot of different ideas outside of a singular deck.
I already know which one you're going
to say. There's one deck that is not very expressive, but I think everything else had like a lot of life in it. Do you want me to talk about that? My thoughts on that one deck first? You want to talk about the other 7?
Whatever order you want to do. I know you got the bracket up, so
let's talk about the one deck. Man, this Air Pony just feels like it's the best version of this deck now.
Oh,
and it feels like
not
it's
where
just.
I thought you were gonna go.
It just does the thing. What did you think I was gonna go?
I thought you were going to talk about Chaos Toga 3 because I just don't think it's anything new, exciting, and it just does what it was going to do.
Sure. I think with the addition of the Jarrett and then the whatever, I think the deck is way, way scarier. I think, honestly, of the bracket that we have here, I think that it just like found the worst matchup of you can just flash my first move, and I'm supposed to put all of my threat on that first move, right? Like I get a singular enhance. I think it's just a poor matchup. If I got to and I think I built the deck a little poor. I'm not a Toga gamer, but I think emerging threats plus Jarrett inside of Toga is very, very strong. Like it's really, really strong.
we'll get on it when we get to the deck list. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to have a conversation as we get to that deck that I just maybe think chaos isn't the symbol anymore.
Interesting.
And we'll get to it.
Okay. Yeah. We certainly will. We certainly will. With that, I think we just like should run through the things and just talk about it. So, first up we have not this one. We've got Pony. I can zoom in just a smidge more. There we go. Pony. This is under air. But me and you have played a lot of Pony, specifically under air. I know that I registered an Earth Pony for Worlds and had a pretty decent run there. Nothing super new and exciting here. I decided to add in a couple of things that I wanted to test and try, but that aren't necessarily like the bread and butter of what this character absolutely needs. And so I'll just talk about those. Like everything attack wise from the top down, beast summoning all the way to Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken is all just your standard stuff. I am still a Lethal Slash believer. I think that card is crazy inside this character. It is a free draw to refuel your hand, and it counts as 3 counters because it clears itself, and it lets you play your 5 difficulty cards third and still not have to Community Foundations if you just roll the 5 because it has that free clear. I think it's really, really solid. The only big change attack lineup wise was just upward disarming swing. So it's a high block, which I thought the deck was missing. It's a stun attack, so it works with Walk the Dog. And it randomly says after it deals damage to a backup or to a character, destroy an asset, which I thought was going to be valuable. And I like this card a lot. The card that it could be instead is something like the knee smash, Midoriya knee smash of if cleared, redraw a card, which is fine. It could also be the 8% of stats for the amount of cards discarded. But as I was playing inside of Worlds, I felt like I never needed those cards as long as I played a bunch of copies of Sacrifice for the Cause, and it felt like that here tonight when as I was playing it. It was just like, I don't think that I need the +X on the 4 diff that is kind of blank later. I'd rather just have like a better value card any point in my string rather than the finisher at the end. But it 8% was in the deck at first and then eventually got cut. Same thing with things like Lunatierras. They were in the deck and then eventually got cut just because like I thought 24 cards was plenty. What are your thoughts? Give me on just the attack lineup.
Oh, just the attack lineup. Yeah, I mean, you've already touched base on the other ones. I do think that cards like knee smash /8% Lunatierras just make the deck probably feel a little better. I think incorporating that throw that genuinely, if you are a Lethal Slash gamer, Lunatierras goes even further up in stock.
Very good. It's really good.
Because that card just counts cards that have left. Meanwhile, Lethal Slash does not count towards the 8% full cowling.
Yeah.
Because that one only looks for cleared cards. But that being said, I do think, and like this is the only like discrepancy that Tam and I really have with this deck, is like I don't think you need Lethal Slash. I think you can play cards like the shoot style knee smash and the 8% to get you there, because this card to me is just the shoot style smash. It's just instead of you having to play things like a life in danger to make sure you don't check a 2, you play other foundations that clear cards out of your card pool. And those clear card pool effects are the same thing that Tam is saying. They are worth 3 pony counters.
Yeah.
And when you play cards like knee smash, when you clear a knee smash, you draw 1. It's the same idea with Lethal Slash.
Yeah.
The biggest exception to me, and the reason why I like that one a lot, is when you're doing the beast summoning thing, which this character clearly is very good at doing.
Yeah.
Knee smashes say that beast summonings only cost you 1 life.
Yeah.
There is an ability on that card that's not usually easy to unlock, but it says if you've discarded a card during this enhanced step, gain 3.
Yes.
So the way that you can do the deck is when you have beast summoning and you have any amount of knee smashes, you weave your knee smashes in between your beast summonings, and you are, as you clear them out of your card pool, you gain your life back, which means you can kind of go near infinite at certain points in the game.
Yeah.
It also works early, of course, and then you're clearing more cards so that 8% scale up. I wasn't a big fan of upward disarming swing. Maybe a sideboard piece.
Yeah.
It's just you already have asset hate with Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken, and that card is nuts in this deck.
Yes.
Because it's a 5 diff and you get rid of it later. So like I don't think you need it. I would have much rather have this genuinely been just 2 copies of Lunatierras because it works really well with the Lethal Slash thing. And having that throw means that the game is just over sometimes. Your opponent ate enough of the Weenie Hut Jr. damage from earlier on.
Yeah.
That one ends the game. I will say I have to kind of concede, as we have, or I don't know if Electric Moth is still needed, in my opinion. You were talking about how the deck needs. You didn't think you needed those 8%, the 8% stuff and Lunatiras because of sacrifice for the cause.
Yeah.
I'm on the same idea of I don't think you need the extra draw from Electromoth.
Hmm.
Genuinely, you didn't even need it in the Earth deck. And people just played it because they're like, it's just free real estate.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, oh man. In this format, having to play more attacks for Weenie Hut Jr. damage leaves you more susceptible to other things. And that guy being the slowest high attack in your deck, you are just asking to get Ares Smiles and Showdown. And I just don't think you need it anymore. Even now with that we've lost like any means necessary, granted, again, that's on the Earth deck. Wish Hard, Feral Shriek, and the extra draw pieces like that you have just on your board, I think are good enough. Like genuinely, I think are good enough. That being said, I have not experimented and limit tested this deck right now in the current format. I've even considered playing things like higher ally foundation counts. You have second wielder in here.
Yeah.
I think second wielder plus Hunter's Ally is crazy good when you play cards like Walk the Dog and
100%.
have powerful on them.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna ask you about it. The two pieces that like in the main board that have really changed, right? Is second wielder is a one of for accidentally giving Walk the Dog powerful, and you were gonna clear that card that anyways. So why not just commit flip for +3 speed and then powerful? It says that your Walk the Dogs are 9 for 9s.
I also wonder, like, I also like Sacrifice for the Cause. People at home, you should play Sacrifice for the Cause.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the 4x that it needs to be like it was in the Earth deck. I do think an amount of Science Bros might be the way to go now, with how many things you have to remove.
Yeah.
And the fact that it works with incompatible quirks is actually nuts.
It's crazy.
Like,
it's so crazy.
Yeah, so I genuinely would like make people, and I'm big on that kind of stuff because again, I'm not playing Lethal Slash.
Yeah.
So like playing the 3 diffs is not as scary to me and playing more of them. And I think if you just are focusing on these different things, Tam's deck was great today. It did really well. I'd really just on its attack package would play Lunatiras over the asset hate thing because you already have Vast Hybrid.
Yeah.
And I would probably just run this and do some tweaking based off of preferences, right? But I think there's this world where, and I'll get onto some of the tech that I'm talking about as we get to another list that I played tonight that is doing air stuff. But Pony on air, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah.
For everybody at home.
Agreed fully.
And
unless you're unless you're so in love with something technical like Barrier Shield, right? Like if you love Barrier Shield, play it.
Yeah. Yeah, Barrier Shield's great. I think your Ares Smiles helps you against other string decks and the Nick Reagans of the world. So like I'm big on air because of having that little bit of defense. I played really good defense, I think, tonight against you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that's what Pony is able to do. And like that's just the 7-hander that I really, really love. But regardless if you do the Lethal Slash thing or you don't, you go back and do the other things. And also I implore people to experiment. That like I think there's some gas there doing Hunter's Ally stuff. Like I really do. Air also has Violet Animus Shot. Like that's not something to sneeze at. Like you have access to these very strong cards that are, you just need to play moves as Pony. The more disruption that your moves have, the better it feels. But attack package wise, I think your 3 Walk the Dogs is the number. I love 3 Beast Summoning. I don't think you need the 4. If they fucking get you with like a remove a card from the game, that's why you play 3.
You certainly, I mean,
there's a lot to
Violent
solve.
Animus Shot is really scary against this character now, just because like you want to hold specific things and like if you just take it on the chin and they randomly remove one of the key pieces, hey, my Beast Summoning is gone, my Walk the Dog is gone, those are my kill cards, and so there's something.
I think this deck needs to be solved. I'm not willing to put in the work because I can't play competitively.
Mm-hmm.
But full disclosure, if I was playing competitively, I'm playing this character on this symbol.
Yep.
Like, I think this is the way to go. You and I were both shocked. Not even if you weren't playing air, but like there were 0 ponies at Denver, and I think that is crazy.
Agreed.
Absolutely crazy. Even if you're still on Earth, man. Earthbreaker is really good in this character.
Yeah.
And nobody touched it. Like nobody touched it. And so, um, yeah, I know we've talked about a lot of his character, but like I think this was the best deck in the room tonight, and I think there's still a lot of expression that you can do with this character.
Yeah, totally. We'll move on though. To Vexalia. This one was yours. Give me the pitch, buddy.
Yeah, so this was actually the one I was referring to in the other kind of conversation. Vexalia got a lot of ranged weapons with Critical Role. The good news is she shares exactly all three symbols with her 2-dot counterpart, which means Hunter's Ally is on all three of her symbols, which means you don't have to make a hard choice. And this is the best ranged weapon that you have in your deck now. Which means cards like Storm of Arrows are a lot easier to find good card quality to clear out of your card pool and do the thing. Violet Animus Shot, brand new ranged weapon we got. Alchemical Satchel Toss, a playable fortive.
Yes.
With a low block.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And also Aerial Goblin Bolt. I'm playing it as a 1-of, but that one is very, very good if you block with it. And it's a 3-diff that you're not going to fail. I did a little different things, though, because we also gained Fenthras, which this card was made for Vexalia 1.
Holy cow. This card and this character makes her real. Truthfully.
Yeah, so
I almost wish that it had the ally keywords, so you just build it in with Hunter's Ally. It would be so sick.
Because I have this girl built in person because I have her alt art, and so I'm gonna play her forever. I think because of that, Tam, there's a world where like maybe I play 4 strategic maneuver, and maybe I'm just like a little weenie hut junior, and I should just play 2 copies of Mark Your Prey because one goes there automatically, and in case your rival removes it, you have a backup or whatever.
Yeah.
Strategic maneuver grabbing Fenthras is the deck, right?
Yes.
Like it is trying to get that guy on the stage. We play a couple of allies like Young Heroes and Trinket as well as Jarrett and Riani. The biggest thing here is if you have a character with life and you can play Riani, Riani plus Desperate Play I think is nuts. It's so good.
It's very good.
That also being said, you're playing an all weapons deck, so Jarrett works. And you don't care about the card in your card pool because eventually you'll Vexalia and you'll ignore progressive. It's not really that big of a deal. But the cool thing about Jarrett is that if your opponent ever blocks your echoed copy of Storm of Arrows, you get a buyback.
Yes.
Because it won't flip. That being said, we play a bunch of ally foundations now, which is just something different that I was doing before. Warden's Protection, just for the highlights. Warden's Protection, Shobijin's Message, Masho's Concealment, Ryukyu training agency trainees and heroic assistants are the foundations. Genuinely, I should play more. I will shout out. Probably should play a single copy of Uratogi one. That one's playable. That one says form, commit, draw 1 card, only playable if you play an attack this turn. So like,
sure.
Like it's just become an 8-hander because you pick up a card anyway at the beginning of your turn.
Yeah.
Warden's Protection though, very good card. It's an ally, and it says if your opponent ever plays a flip ability on you, you get it back. And building in any foundation in the middle of a turn by sacking off your face downs is really, really good. Whether it's Elvish Tutoring, whether it's Pressure by All for 1 for damage, it works on defense. Building in a snap, I don't know, Aaron's Sidestep probably feels pretty good. Like it can be whatever you want. Other than that, it's ranged weapons on deck. And she pumps damage and speed. She essentially can give 1/1 to all of her moves. Sometimes it's 1/3. She gives 3 damage to 1 move during the turn. She's a 7-hander. She's just generically good.
Yeah.
I ain't saying she's nuts, but like she feels good to play.
I think the biggest thing
her best symbol
is she's got that classic. She's just boring, right? Like she's not flashy what she's doing. She's just bread and butter good quality universes, which is the reason like nobody's really been experimenting with her. She's just
it's weird because like
the play pattern is boring.
But I think the deck isn't boring. Like I like pushing the buttons and like I like the Storm of Arrows, moving a bunch of cards around. Fenthras feels really good when you have it on the board. My favorite play, I didn't pull it off today, but the responsibility on Fenthras is also very good against strong defensive characters. My coolest thing I like to do is if you have the cards based off of what you drew, you Fenthras, you trigger the response on it, and then you strategic maneuver build another one. Like you can get it back if you want the enhance, and you've already gotten what you wanted, right? So
that's dope.
Yeah, it feels pretty cool. The unique keyword will kill it off. So it's a cool deck. She's not flashy, but I do think it's got some legs.
All in
all,
all,
Walk the Dog's range weapon. How can you not?
I think you're just missing. You've got no high blocks on your attacks, but I guess you make up for it with your Mark Your Prey, right? Like you
You
always
have a
get
free one every turn.
a free one, but like if you're attacking, you don't want to have one. I think it's weird to have no high blocks on your attacks and have something like a fruit tart, right? But like fruit
I
tart's there
think
for the Mark Your Prey.
fruit tart is just for the
It's
marker
a
prey.
I'm a little nervous about lack of high blocks. That's all. That's all.
I get that. I think you're just obsessed about having specific things on your attack cards
I
when
think
the reality is like
hi-
we're a desperate play symbol, and so it doesn't matter.
I think
Because
high
you can
attacks
hold your
are
foundations and build them.
I think high attacks are all over the place right now, and low attacks aren't. I think high attacks are super relevant, and so not having the block zones to the point of like I think you're missing out on like even like 2 copies of the flaming arrow card of just like the one high block is also a ranged weapon is as good as the satchel toss or whatever, right? Like for
I
the
I would agree,
opposite side.
but that thing has 3 damage on it, and in a DR world, I ain't playing that card.
Sure.
Like I know that it has powerful on it, but that momentum is just being used for vertical maneuvering equipment, and it's what it's always being used for. So your high blocks don't matter as much. The coolest thing about this deck is like I don't disagree that like I would like to have more high blocks, like maybe Nedry Chans go up because I think that matters, but like
Sure.
I
Sure.
don't think it has to be on your attack cards. Like I think that is just a weird conception that you have, an obsession you have. You can just put high blocks in your deck. Um, it doesn't have to be in the attacks.
Mm, agree to disagree.
Is-
I think it's important to have it well best at best you can, right? Like sometimes it's just not going to happen. But like if you can find room for high blocks on your attack cards, I think that you should. I
I
think
guess I just don't, I
even
guess I
like
just don't understand why it
even
has
like
to be on the
two
attack card.
because of the idea of sometimes you're allowed to play some types of cards and sometimes you're not allowed to play others. And so like if I need to build on this turn and I have attacks in my hand and I've got the um if I have situations which I can't go into specifics about because they are specific, sometimes I need to build foundations, and so I need to hold attacks. If I hold attacks and I have no high blocks on any of my attacks, there's a 0% chance that I can block high with my attacks. And if I need to play attack cards and I need to hold blocks on my foundations and I don't have a specific zone, then there's a 0% chance that I'm gonna block with those specific cards. Like I have to make the game work for me, and so that I need to have a chance. So there's a 0% chance that it happens if it's just not there.
Which is and Mark Our Prey fixes that answer.
Sure. I think, and that is the caveat that I said at the very beginning. Is like I guess you have Mark Your Prey, but like even then, you've played the deck more than me. I'm sure you don't need it.
Yeah, if that situation ever occurs and you have to build, you feel fine with it because you always have that high block in your hand.
Yeah, fair.
Whether it's orange or gray or green, you always have one.
Well, it can't be orange. Anyways, we're moving on to Allura. Allura's next. Another one of your decks.
Oh yeah, this is me. Yeah, I loved this deck. This deck was so fun. Allura's big thing, and it was answered when this character existed in the past. And the question was, how do you kill people? The character in the past that this character is kind of like based off of, or spiritual successor to, had inherent ways of killing people.
Yep.
This one does not.
Correct.
As I'm sure people are playing with Allura at home because the Chrome is beautiful, as I know Tam has opened up one of them. This character is very cool and very good because ceiling attacks is primo, I think, in the game right now.
Yep.
So the question I had to answer is how do you kill people? And I said punch package is pretty good, and we have so much snap momentum. Ultimate combination is pretty good when you have random foundations that end up in your momentum.
Totally.
And so I really just leaned into that. It was ultimate combination. There's only 3 of them in the deck because it is a 6-diff. But if you play this powerful 4 punch, it combos with repeated, which allows it to be a dual threat with repeated in the deck and ultimate combination. And you just do turbo momentum generation. You play enough actions to make Allura work. You play cards like unsettling eating habits, which shove in foundations from our discard pile to our momentum so that when you pay them for ultimate combination, although you removed a foundation here, you get them back. And because you got them from your discard pile, you can grab whatever you want.
Yeah.
Including all these 1/5 flip draw cards.
Yes.
So we typically go and grab treasure huntings and horrifying realizations or attitude selectors.
Yeah.
And if you need a little defense, you obviously have incubatings. And then randomly, if you've grabbed any of the good foundations off the top, you build those in as well with ultimate combinations. My experience, I built this deck and I haven't played it. So today was my time to do it. And I just wanted to see if I could take a match or win some stuff. And I did. And it worked. Vertical maneuvering equipment with this character is obviously great. Combined firepower is a nutso card. Strange energies in this character is kind of cool.
So good.
I don't think I had a lot of success with it tonight, but always having this card in your deck means your opponent has to sit there and be like, well, shit. Like, am I stunning 2 to get this enhance or blitz off?
Yeah.
Or sometimes they check a 3 and you're like, holy shit, like I just have to let it go. And then the other one I wanted to try out, I don't know if it's good enough. Maximum hardening is really cool. And I just wanted to do this. Honestly, I put this on the deck for Tam because I know Tam likes this card.
I like this card a lot.
The thing I really wanted to do was if I'm just gonna go play card 1, play Rejuvenating Smash on a 6, I wanted to be this one.
Yeah.
Because I want to clear it out of my card pool, and then if I draw more attacks or whatever, we have a cool chain. And if not, then whatever. It also builds on block anyway. So, and you don't even care about using the response because you can just yeet it out for a momentum. So you get to choose: do you want a foundation for later, or do you want a momentum for later? The deck was very cool. I was trying out reflecting on choices. That card's fine. Hacker's nuts. Probably should play 4.
Yeah, should play 4 hacker for sure. 4 hacker, 4 Master's
Disarming
Pride.
Plans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just didn't. There's a lot of mid blocks on this deck.
That's
You go
yeah,
look.
Yeah.
And especially when you have combined as the tutorable one, right? You're like.
I will say so. Like let's talk combine for a second. So, combine is the reason to play this character under this symbol. Is how easy it is
but you
to
don't want
get
to
it.
eat them all the time.
Which is what makes combined feel actually fair. This is like the most fair combined deck that I have seen in a long, long time. Of like this card, because of the fact that Allura is removing it for this extra cost, it is actually a choice of whether I'm supposed to use combined or not. It was really refreshing to not just like, to not just like every time you can combine, slam them all out of your discard pile and do the thing. Like you were actually having to be selective with when you used it. And on your attacking strings, it was like, I'll play this attack, I'll use combined, I'll get rid of it for the momentum, I'll play my next attack, I'll use this combined, get rid of it for momentum, spend the momentum. Like it was really cool. It was really, really cool to watch that gameplay loop be played without just being like, I'm gonna slam all 4 just because they all just like slam damage and they're free cards, right? It was very cool, very novel.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of stuff I was testing out. For everybody that wants to play Allura at home, Magic Trap ain't it. Don't play that one. I thought it was good. It ain't good. Play a better one.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. It's honestly because of how it works with strange energies in this deck specifically. In the chaos list, it felt pretty okay because I could be like, I'll block with a thing, I'll manifest, double magic trap you, snap my momentum, Allura, snap a momentum, my card pool's clear, you have -2 to your check. Like that felt good. It just doesn't work with strange energies.
That was my best feeling playing the card was when I enhanced on a barrier shield and I went,
yes,
hey, Magic Trap, and I was like, oh, this is nuts because they become a breaker 3, breaker 4, whatever, they scale. But the biggest thing I learned today was this deck only really falters to resets is pretty much all you have to worry about. And even then, like I don't think you had enough resets when I had enough dual threats.
Of ultimate combination and repeated.
Plus repeated.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think you just have to play more answers to the resets. Genuinely, I think that's all you have to do.
Yeah. And the void symbol can.
Knots Flask.
Sure.
Yeah, Knots Flask aren't it. I would probably play Tattered Cloak. That deals with some of the actions, right? That has void.
Yeah.
Vertical is so good. I'd probably bump it up, to be honest. And then however many foundations you think you need to do the combo, I was just using Unsettling Eating Habits and relying on the random momentum from Double Fists, sometimes Rejuve, and the character herself. I think this one is good enough to do. You're allowed to play like the 2 diffs that do it. I just didn't want to play a 2 diff, and hey, this card blocks Besiege, and it did work tonight.
It did.
But the deck's cool. I had a lot of fun playing this deck. It was really cool.
Let me put an earworm for you. So final round teammate Chris Smith has been playing a lot of Chaos Mitchell Chimino. Mitchell Chimino ultimate combination seems incredible. I'll review this foundation. I'll stick it in my momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll ultimate combination. Instead of remove them, I'll grab all these foundations back to my hand. I'll just build them straight into my stage. And so you just like have one huge, massive burst turn, which is where as soon as I saw ultimate combination in Allura, I went, holy cow. I had this idea like 3 days ago at time of recording. And I was like, I haven't put the deck together. And then you did it with Allura. And I was like, it just validates me because Mitchell's way more consistent at grabbing that momentum as a foundation whenever you want. It's not random off the top like Allura is. And so like the fact that you made it work here when it's truly random, it's going to be crazy in Mitch. Crazy.
Yeah. So like, and that was the thing is like, it's random, but there's so much random in the deck. It's Allura cross turn. It's Hacker Extraordinaire, random. Double Fist of the Mortal Flame, random. Like, it's random, but there's so much random that you're gonna put foundations in there.
Absolutely.
You're just gonna do it. And that's why I was like, this is just good enough. If you play Ultimate Combination on turn 2 and you check a 3 on it, but out of all that random momentum, you got 2 or 3 foundations, it was actually a fortif. Like, it was actually a fortif. And like,
if you squint your eyes, it's just repeated 100. It's 7 copies of this card.
It's kind of. But that being said, the idea was I was blown away by I can't remember his name, and I'm so sorry, but he played the Sasha Blouse deck at Worlds, doing this thing with Ultimate Combination because Sasha shoves in 1 diffs into her momentum, and he was actually just playing every foundation that put itself in momentum. And you just did this huge explosive Ultimate Combination, and it worked. Like it worked. Like he did it on stream, and I just kind of took that, and the idea was we're on Void though. And they're all punches, and repeated 100% smash ain't $100 anymore.
Yeah.
This is a real ass deck. And you have onboard answers, so Rewind Throttle, good. Deadlock Threat, Plummeting Punch for the mix-up. Rejuvenating is just a good card. It can do it. And Maximum Hardening gives you some damage.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
We'll move on, though, into Not the Brave Chaotic Meddler. I want to give a big shout out to Justin Birch. Actually, he did a grind session with this list. He made the list in, he said, like 10 minutes, and then came in, played a singular match, 2-0'd me playing as something, and then left. And I was like, that's not what Not the Brave Chaotic Meddler is supposed to do. And so I took this list and I went, he's a little too all in on the I'm going to kill you on turn 2 idea, and I put in a little bit of defense. Ready? He wasn't playing any assets. He was playing no actions. So no vertical, no tattered costume, no cape, no surprising strength, no airy smile. He wasn't playing things like Sun Eater of the Big 3, which I tossed in, or Nonagon. He wasn't even playing things like Incompatible Quirks. He was playing 4 copies of Levi's Relentless Spirit instead of Incompatible. Like, he was just like, hey, it was very obvious it was an unpolished deck, but the core concept was if he found if he found a rifle arm and a high velocity slice and a Fajin Flurry, he had like 4 momentum on turn 2, which like then said all of your attacks have +5 speed, which means you don't get to block them anymore, which then says Armor of the Wolf kills you. And it was just like it was so like Determined Advance or High Velocity Slice into Fajin Flurry to like snap all this bonus extra momentum. Having things like Rifle Arm or Second Wielder is like so cool of like slam momentum so quickly. And he was playing a lot of the minus speed cards of like we've got in here Nice Try, Rifle Arm, Return of the Kings, Incompatible. And so I added Incompatible. I added Sun Eater. Like there's so much speed reduction that you are able to block things, and then in the panic, go for the partial block. I think that you are most vulnerable as a 7-hand size character on turn 2, but if you can get past that turn 2 hump, I think this character is very hard to kill, and your moves are so fast they can't block. Like that the middle enhance of X speed +1 is so crazy on a 7-hander. It's so crazy. Rinku wishes, dude. Holy shit. This character is insane. And then if they have onboard answers, you just make them mill 2 foundations and then say your reset doesn't count. Your reset doesn't happen. Sorry. Like that happened tonight. I just like, you had a singular out on your board. I made you mill 2 things and said you can't use Botans.
My Botans code.
Yeah, you didn't have a card in hand, and I went, you don't get to redraw with Botans. Sorry. Like
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
it was very, very good. It's super, super good. I
I like this. It's kind of cool.
This put so much respect on what I thought Not the Brave was going to be just a lame ass mill deck. This is a sick 7-hand size aggro character, and I'm so that has on board. You can't interact with me because of my speed's too fast, and on board you can't interact with the things that I'm doing because I'm sealing your things. I don't care about the mill. I'm sealing your answers on board. So cool, so cool. Big shout outs to Jester for this list. I'm in.
That being said, it does have faults.
Yes.
If your opponent interacts with you and denies you momentum and also full blocks your stuff,
it's
tough. Hard to get this deck off the ground.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, right? I mean, every deck should have a flaw. But yeah, you're right. This is the epitome of how do I play an air character that is all about giving a fuck to speed, and this one can for sure do it very quickly. I like the Fajin Flurry tech. I like the High Velocity Slice, and then the rest of the cards are like basically like the bombs. So yeah, I think that's really cool.
This was dope, and it really put second wielder on the map for me. Truthfully, like in his game, he got out like 2 second wielder on turn 2 and just murdered me for it, and I was just like, I do not know what's happening. Like play slice, grab a momentum, play Fajin Flurry, use the second wielder to flip the slice, grab a second momentum, use Fajin Flurry, grab an extra momentum. You could even use the second wielder to, once it's committed, to then EX to grab an extra momentum, and then you use now that you have 2 momentum to give it +3 speed, grab an extra momentum. Like that line off of a singular wielder and 2 attacks is just like insane to me. Like it's so good.
So that's what I'm saying is like, and that's tying this back. I'm this close to putting in second wielder into my Vex deck.
Yes.
Because it can be that extra push. The problem is that I'm doing like a Storm of Arrows thing, so it's a little anti-synergistic.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of just doing it for it's an ally. Hunter's ally builds this in. You tap it sideways to pass a check, and you have an EX or powerful fodder.
Yeah, I'll make this walk the dog not counter as progressive at the end. It's on a 4. Anyways, I'll blow up 2 of these for +6 damage.
Yeah. And also on top of that, I think there's a world for somebody to experiment doing the same thing in Pony, and she actually gets to press the enhance on second wielder because she clears any card out of the card pool. You can flip it first, then kick it for 3 speed, and later it will be powerful for a walk the dog or whatever, right?
Which is why I put it in here at a 1 of, and it was inspiration from Justin. I was like, you know what, this is really neat.
So I think that idea and putting those kinds of cards in there, in conjunction with Hunter's Ally existing, really cool technology. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. But at the same time, like this list does one thing. It's a 7-hand size aggro character that has a little bit of defense on face of if I can block one thing, it was a full block, which like you never want to do because the momentum is so king. But I think that this is certainly a list I went into this going, you know what? I did some chaotic meddling of what's going on with this character, and I came out enjoying the gameplay loop that I played. I am excited. If I showed up to the double case tournament with Not the Brave Chaotic Meddler, I wouldn't be surprised. Because the list was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Aggro 7-hander doing speed. It's like an aggro Rodan.
Yes, it is like an aggro Rodan.
That being said, I would want to avoid the Rodan.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, back to the mill plan. We'll move on though. Back to me. Another one of my lists. Toga 3. So, last format, 100 years ago, you played Reiner 2, and you did this really cool emerging threats thing. I think we played it during Spotlight. I think it was what was happening. Yeah. And you played emerging threats, and I went, I have no idea what that card is, and it builds in a backup from your stage or from your card pool into your stage. Playable while committed. Like this card. Every time that I've shown this card to somebody in the past few weeks, they've been like, I've never seen this. I'm like, yeah, man, it's an AOT 1 rare that nobody has ever read ever. I only own 2 of them. I only own 2. Right. This card is so cool.
I also brought today an emerging threats deck, so I can't wait to talk about this one.
And so, Jarrett says after your rival blocks a weapon, add him up to the card pool, and then you can flip emerging threats to build it back down. There's no better weapon character than just Toga. Like the combo of I play unfazed. You have to interact with my unfazed. If you block it, I lift it. If you don't block it, I'll get a momentum and then echo it is so good. Like, it's so good. And that first one is a 7 high for 9 that you have to interact with and block or whatever. Like, you have to interact with that. It's so solid. And so doing this idea and then getting the Jarrett to rebuy back your and not be a 7 hand size character off of this idea is really, really good. With that said, man, I think there's some choices in here were like kind of whatever. I went with a high difficulty package because, I mean, these are the good ones, right? These are the ones you're supposed to play. Unfazed, Black Abyss, Walk the Dog, Deception Dagger, Duel of the Ackermans. I hated this card, man. I thought this card was not very good. I don't like this card in this character. People are constantly saying, yo, and you can do, like, I would share this idea and they go, and you get to do Duel of the Ackermans. You can buy that one back. And I'm like, yeah, man, I guess you can. I hated it. I didn't like it at all. But the foundation base is like pretty self-explanatory. The goal here is to play as many attacks as possible. Master's Pride re-readies itself. Inspiring Song counts as a second move. Emerging Threats is playable while committed. Acrobatic Style is a 4 of. If I commit you, I re-ready. So if I check poorly, I re-ready. And then double History's Greatest Monster. They're all 5 diffs. And so my goal is on turn 2, I have some sort of real plays. I think genuinely the issue tonight that we had is, I think my matchup was really bad. Honestly, I think the matchup was really bad. Like, I'm trying to front load all of my moves, and you're gonna talk about Devron Racer next, and
sure,
it is.
I will say,
yeah.
Before we even get to that deck,
yeah,
I get that it was a bad matchup, but I was not. One, I did not play that deck very well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Nor did nor did the deck do well for me.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess that hard matchup just means the dichotomy. But I would raise the opposite question, and I do want to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Tam, I just don't think Chaos is the symbol anymore for this girl.
I think that's fair. I liked the idea of, if I'm playing all these 5 difficulties, I want things like History's Greatest Monster and Acrobatic Style to do the rebuy back. And I didn't love the weapon choices on the other symbols, and like things like Rapid Speed Slash, Walk the Dog. Black Abyss has life, which could be an option. Like, it is possible that these other symbols are where it's at, but I just thought that like things like Rapid were too important. Things like Walk the Dog were too important. And honestly, I'm just not a Toga gamer. And so I'm trying to find what the answer is. At first it started out as a death deck, honestly, with sweeping daggers, because we've got deception and sweeping in order to clear to burn and then steal your things, also commit them. You can take and remove the unfazed from your discard pile to give it echo. Or sorry. I'm thinking of a different move. My apologies. I didn't
Inventor's Creation.
I didn't put in Inventor's Creation because you could do that. You could Inventor's Creation, remove unfazed, echo it. It hits, you echo it, and then remove a Deception Dagger for an extra stun. And so that one card is 4 attacks and stun 4. Commit, echo, commit, stun 2. And so like that one card could be so much. But again, I was like, well, I'm supposed to play Duel of the Ackermans and Black Abyss and all these 5 diffs, where maybe I'm supposed to just like get away with playing 4 diffs and like play good strings, and eventually, Jarrett picks them back up and all that jazz. What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I think Death is still probably pretty good because of the Sweeping Daggers thing. I think one of the cards that you are forgetting about from Chaos that you could have put in, I get that it's not a 5 diff, but like if you didn't like Duel of the Ackermans, I do think Aerial Goblin Bolt is the good enough to play 3 diff in this character. That people were doing with the fucking Shishiwakamaru one. I think Aerial Goblin Bolt is like, if you want to play a 3 diff weapon, that's the one you play in Toga on Chaos. But I was gonna raise the conversation over to the life symbol because like I get it. I know I keep talking about it, but like Hunter's Ally is a weapon.
It's pretty good.
And life
Hunter Allies
weapons and
builds in the Jarrett, which is half the combo.
Yes, correct. And you still get the emerging threats to do the loop thingy, to do whatever you're doing, right? So like I think there's just like the world where doing that, and yes, you're playing 5 diffs or that 5 diff, but like you're still gonna play the Deception Daggers. You can play the Black Abysses still if you want, like those strong cards to shove into your momentum from your discard pile. But I think the life deck will help give you that kind of synergy that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Or I think the death deck is all about playing a bunch of the low difficulty stuff, right? Like focusing on those 4 diffs aside from Deception Dagger, right? If you wanted to still play the Unfazed and Duel of the Acromans, you absolutely can. Like Unfazed is still very good.
I think Unfazed
I
is
know
all you
lose
need. I don't think you need the duels. I do think that 3
Yeah.
Unfazed is correct. Every time that I played that card, I was like, this is just 14 unblockable damage, especially if I have Jarrett. Especially if I have Jarrett. It's just unblockable.
I think there's also like this character was obviously really good when Risky Encounter was a card. I think an amount of Irwin's Final Charge is still good,
Yeah.
right? Like you play it when you can guarantee pass it. You've already tapped their board. You blow up your stage. You kill somebody with it. I wonder if there are better symbols for her now, because as I look at your list, yes, you have all these things that really synergize with the character, but I think the biggest thing you're missing, and the reason why Chaos Toga was so successful, is like the quality 0 diffs you had, and we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
And you have Master's Pride, and like that's the good one. You could play the Shishi Wakomaru one, I guess, for the extra stats on weapons.
Don't think it's worth
but
it.
Like if you played Life Toga or Death Toga, you now have access to things like 0/6s with incredible blocks, which means passing your checks is better, your blocks are better, and you just play a different kind of curve.
I actually think it's supposed to be life weapons. I do think it's supposed to be like I will after the podcast. I'm gonna probably take a look at what life gets, because the fact that like you can block with Jarrett with Desperate Plea and build it in, and then like continue to do the thing is like it's so strong, to the point where like if Jarrett and emerging threats are on the board at the same time, it is red alert. Like it is very, very scary to like pass back into that and be like, okay, Toga, you can do your thing, just because of the amount of
scary, right?
stats that you can, or the amount of attacks and how much it commits out your entire board if they have any momentum already. And so sneaking in a Jarrett with things like Desperate Plea or Hunter's Ally of just, hey, he's just on the board now, you have to figure that out, is just very good. And then at the same time, you get access to Rainy to like to unflip your emerging threats and unflip your Desperate Pleas, and like there's some crazy things that you get to do with this character under the life symbol. And I think you're totally right. I think it's just supposed to be that.
I'd have to look. I don't know what EX and Powerful we're playing, but Second Wheeler also has life. It's cool. But I'm just doing real quick. Third Wielder Fa Jin. Snap Momentum, gives 3 damage when you give a speed thing of 3 or greater. Team Stash is a real strategy. Team Stash is an ally, and it says commit your next charge or weapon gets 2/2. So carrying over Stoga stats by building things in with Hunter's Ally, that's a real strategy. Excuse me. Wow, Pussycats. You can play 0 div allies like
you can play Mighty Blitz under life, and that card is way better than people are giving it credit for. I think that card's crazy.
Mighty Blitz is a weapon.
Mighty Blitz
is a weapon. You have Stun Hate from Heroic Assistance. Young Heroes is selective committal. I'm just naming allies, but like then you have to go back and you have to look at what what weapon attacks can we play? But the thing
Canister
is like,
Creation Strike lets you
that's a good one.
Build in the emerging threats. So like there's the other half of the combo is if you just do the thing there.
And again, I think that's the whole perk, right? Is like Hunter's Ally and that card are fake 5 diffs, right? Like they're fake 5 diffs because you're building in this extra foundations. I want to say that life weapons maybe aren't good enough, but the thing is like you still have Death and Chaos, which are crazy. All 3 AOT symbols. She just has Netzo attune. You can probably find enough weapons to make it work.
Yeah.
But I like what you're doing, man. I like the emerging threats. I like Jarrett. I think it's a cool combo.
Yeah.
I wonder if Chaos just isn't the play anymore. Is really what it is.
I cannot wait for us to. I bet there will be another one next week because I am absolutely infatuated with what this thing's got going on. Moving on to Sam Rutherford. This deck looks familiar.
Yeah, this is Tim Keefe's deck. I just took it. I just stole it.
Did you, when you drafted this, did you know he was going to play it?
No, I was going to take Jeremy Ray's.
Funny.
So I took Tim's. Spoilers, I should have took Jeremy Ray's. This deck is crazy. And by crazy, I mean it's kind of like all over the place, which is very Tim Keefe, right?
Yeah.
We have good defensive answers like Runaway. We're playing nutso assets. You know, Cabal's Ruin works with this character. Duithwar, Items Box, they're good. But because we're playing all these assets, we're also playing Bedazzled Helmblast, which is a tech, and you don't care necessarily that you have all the assets yet because you just give it 2-speed anyway with Devron.
Yeah.
Or you play cards like Inventor's Creation and you pick the Bedazzled Helmblast, and that's you make your own low attack
Powerful
Bedazzled
5.
Helmblast with powerful 5. Or you just pick Patchwork Baby, right? And this is like copies 4 and 5 of Patchwork Baby. But the big thing here is that Violent Animus Shot is a very good tech card that this guy just got access to. Charged Alien Sploof still kills people. And you just play as many good tech attacks that you can for the character. And you are like a little mini Ida. You can end the enhanced step. You can take control of the first enhance with memory upgrade, which by the way checks a 6. And wow. Yeah, I just
I couldn't find it.
I didn't check very well playing this deck, but there is some cool pieces in here. There is very much a strategy here. He did not top cut at Denver. Maybe he checked just as bad as I did, but this guy is good.
He did
and he's very technical.
Very well in teams, which might be teams of different beasts. You get to pick your matchups, and so it might be that like this deck in particular, maybe Sam as a whole or Devon Razor as a whole is like, hey, I shine when I shine, and I'm dull when I'm dull. But there's a lot of
Jeremy
cool
Ray's
cards in here that I absolutely had to read. Things like Traumatic Scene and Angelic Card. I was a reader. I had to read all of those. I was like, I don't know what those cards do.
I think that's the thing too. Is like I think the deck is good. We are playing our own little fake format here where it's like you have to like we don't play with sideboards.
Yeah.
Obviously he has a sideboard here, but like, you know, three hackers in the sideboard. Maybe I want that in the main board for our kind of format because it's very good. We don't get the sideboard. We are building our decks basically as if we aren't sideboarding. So like there's obviously downsides for me just picking characters and rolling with it, but like I mean I got some wins with him. Like he was good. I just checked like shit.
Yeah.
And maybe for that, I would like. I just don't think this guy needs to play like 22 attacks, maybe, and we can like slim this down a little. But yeah, Tim is very much trying to play a lot of answers to a lot of different things. And there's some good cards in here, and there's some ones in here that I'm like, really, like, do we need this? Like,
yeah, yeah. Nah, I get it. Not much that I have to say about this list though. There's just weird stuff.
He can kill you if you check well and you got the charged alien spoofs in your hand. That just happens. But if not, he plays a really good game because I have no idea. I don't know, but I built it.
Remove if you have less foundation than your rival. This non-threat attack gets 3 speed or 5 damage. I guess, man.
That's pretty good.
I guess that's pretty okay.
5's pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, I like the Gently Theft. It doesn't get the 2 speed, but as a bonus flash attack is kind of cool.
Yeah, I dig that.
For Inventor's Creation or even Okie Dokie, right?
Yeah,
so that's kind of cool.
And Sam's inherently cool. Like, I play a move, I'll in the enhanced step. It's basically flash, right?
Step, yeah, extra flash, which was very good against characters like, what's an example? I'm thinking Pony that really wanted an enhanced step. Yeah. Pony really wants an enhanced step, and flash attacks are pretty good against her, so she doesn't generate counters on your turn that you're trying to actually get some pressure on. But if you check a bunch of 3s, you just die to Pony. So
what do you do?
But it was cool. It's a cool deck. Very Tim Keefe. He's cool. He's a cool guy.
We'll move on. To Fire Ymir. So this one is me. So here's where I'm at. Life Ymir is still incredible. Probably the best thing that you can do as Ymir. But I wanted to play a deck with 4 Barrier Shield. And I wanted to figure out just like, what does Fire Ymir look like? And truthfully, this started as, when I initially made the deck, it was 4 Beast Summoning and 4 Lethal Slash. And I was like, I'm just trying to, I get to 9 and you explode. I just kill you. I've got 100 attacks in my hand. They're all for plus 10 damage, and I just kill you. And as I was looking, the Lethal Slashes became a little less warranted just because I wanted to play Recuperation Time and Sacrifice for the Cause, and I thought my difficulty curve was a little too high, just a little too high. And so, like, I took that out, and I tossed in, and I had too many attacks because I wanted to play defeating plus teaming, I think, is really important in this character under the fire symbol. Besieged, Haymaker. I wanted to play all 4 beast summoning because they cut me 4 health. This was essentially my Tetra Terror was beast summoning, except for I'm not asking you to block it. I pay 4 health, I get my card. I just pick it up. Combining that with the idea of like I'm allowed to now commit my recoup times to then re-ready them with beast summonings. Like there's a little bit of synergy there. Things like capture the target, re-readying things, like how long of a string can I play? And then I had 2 tech pieces that I was allowed to play under the fire symbol of 1 Mikasa Sneak Strike, which is life attuned, and then Red Guard, because truthfully, you had Annie on your team, and I wanted to have a singular like if you had a big throw, I wanted to be able to block and be like, hey, the throw doesn't matter. And truthfully, because I had 5 3-diffs in my deck, I felt like I could never fail checks, and they were just becoming massive. They were just like this character is like the definition of, man, if I just play a ton of 3-diffs, I give enough stats on my backs on my shifted side. It does not matter what their first stat was. +2 speed, +6 damage is going to kill you when I play 6 of them. It felt very, very good. Besides that, it's like you easily could make this just a classic life Ymir deck outside of I get to play incubating and latent skill for a little more consistency and so on and so forth, rather than whatever else.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing here is like, yeah, this is Fire Ymir, but if you like played out every card that's not attuned, and then also ask the question, do these actually matter? Because you can play X, Y, and Z thing on live.
Yeah.
Is there really a big difference here? I think the answer is like half yes, but also like half no.
I think it's just beast summoning, honestly. Like just beast summoning
and barrier shield, right?
Yeah. Which was relevant tonight. Like I had to dance around it the whole night tonight, and you having access to tattered costume was like really important in canceling my barrier shields, and I was like, fuck. Like anytime that card hit the table, I was like, you can just cancel my action. Like the whole reason of playing Ymir is I get the two card answer. But there's the biggest issue with every Ymir deck, no matter the symbol, is there's just so many cool ass cards you can put in this deck. You ready? The Edge Shot Foundation, after it's reviewed, built it in. Crazy in this character. I hold it for defense. If you don't attack me, I've got 7 foundations. I review it. I go to 8. I build. I bring it in. And I ended up having to cut that card because I thought things like latent skill and recuperation time and that package was just like more important. I wanted to play 4 barrier shields and not 2 and toss 2 of that in there. Like there's still more things that you can massage and mold when it comes to what Fire Ymir is looking for. That feels really, really cool. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to do with this list that I didn't get a chance to do is I wanted to play Beast Titan's Rock Barrage to just build in my Grisha's Attack Titan. And now it says like if I play 4 of this and even like a couple of the commit for -3 damage, I'm now keeping my health total a little more ambiguous with gaining health minus damage. And now Rock Barrage sometimes says stun 2 and add a besiege or a teaming with the attack titan to my hand. And I thought that was just good enough as a 5 mid for 5 that was my opener. Like there yeah. My thing with Ymir is she can close out the game all by herself. Trying to find what cool synergy you want to do with the actual deck list itself is such a fun puzzle. What a fun puzzle. Maybe unlimited damage is a little too much. Who knows? But what a fun puzzle to crack this for a deck building challenge. Deck builder's delight.
So I knew I wasn't going to win this week when you had Ymir and you had Pony, and these are characters that I already knew were like, oh, I think these are like the best 7-handers in the game right now.
Yeah.
My thing was like, I think what you did today is cool with this deck. What I really wanted to see was like what you thought the solution was to post-rotation Ymir. And I think you were doing something cool that I don't think that like answered the question that I wanted you to answer.
Sure.
Because like I think what most Ymirs are doing nowadays, and I don't know because we've only seen one regional, but like I think cards like Replicator and Desperate Plea and on the life symbol, I'm going to say it again, man, Hunter's Ally, help you get to that 9 foundation threshold that cards like New Training Method were helping you get to before rotation. this doesn't answer that question, or it like halfway does, right? But like, man, oh man, I sat here most of the time today because doing the turn two version, like trying to flip over on two, is much harder to do now because new training method not existing. I
Yes.
was ready for your deck to have 4 copies of Replicator, 4 copies of Desperate Plea, yada yada yada. And now that I'm looking at the list, I go, oh, he wasn't really like pushing that kind of game plan.
Let me push back
Um,
for 1 second. I cared
yeah,
about Ymir having 4 barrier shield because I think the life deck gets eaten alive by Nick Reagan. And
fair.
so I wanted to see, hey, how far can I push this list? Because the way to beat Nick Reagan is I hold barrier shield, I hold red guard, and I pray. And I say, breaker 3, you can't play any more moves. You're a dumb 5-hander. I don't care that you put true 100% on that move. And the life
True.
symbol does not have access to that level of reset. And I think it's eaten alive by that character, which is where, like, if I want to play this at a competitive event, I have to figure out, hey, how do I beat Nick Reagan? How do I fight Rodan, who gives an ungodly amount of speed? And the answer is let them beat me up until I bury your shield when it's appropriate. And then play out a string that I know that I can't fail. And so that is, so like when you say, what does post Ymir look like? I took this as a serious, what does Ymir look like? But I don't, this is nowhere near what the final, if 90% of the even attacks or foundations change in this list, and it was just, I play X number of barrier shield, and that's the reason I'm playing fire, I think that's acceptable for what does post rotation Ymir look like. And that was
Yeah, I
my
think
goal
that's fair.
going into it.
Yeah, and it was just like, we saw a life one at Denver on stream. Um, and I think even like Desperate Plea plus like an amount of replicators can sometimes still get you there because
Yeah.
your opponent, if they go first, is like, man, do I actually feel comfortable attacking them as I stare across a barrier or a Desperate Plea?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very much this idea of like, I know that there are people out there that are playing their first attack as Ymir on turn 2 at not at 7 foundations, playing an attack, using a replicator, or playing it as a hunt or a hunter's ally or whatever, building in their 8th and then flipping over, right? And so I was expecting something like that because I do think that is a still a good way of playing this deck at a competitive level. I don't disagree with the Nick Reagan thing, but I think we saw the Nick Reagan decks that are being played right now are not doing the kill you on turn 2 thing. And even if they are going for it, there's a lot of if, ands, or buts about what they find. And just a little bit of interaction. Just a little bit of interaction. So to me, the answer is like maybe it's a Keiko's Aid or 2 or
Yeah.
whatever, right? And you can do that same idea just on a foundation instead of a barrier shield. Luckily, I don't have to answer that question. The people that play this game competitively have to answer that.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think this is a good. What do we do now with this character that is still obviously very, very good?
Yeah.
But she has changed, and how do we still keep her up in the format, right?
Yeah, I think this is a snapshot of like what you can do. And the goal, like the goal with this list would be someone looks at it and goes, you know what? I didn't look at Fire Ymir at all because of how potent Life Ymir has been in the past. And truthfully, how potent the attack lineup for Life Ymir is now. You still have Dual Needle into Tetra Terra, and that kills every single person in the entire game. Like just those 2 attacks as Ymir, you just kill everyone. The question is how do you survive long enough to do it? And I thought Barrier Shield was just going to be enough. And the answer was it did it. I mean, it is an amazing card in my 7-hand size character that gets to do it. But to answer back to your what is it? The flip on turn 2 kill you. I've never played Ymir that way as me Tam. I just like I'm much more conservative. I want to stay if I'm not killing you, I want to stay on the front side. I don't care about the -3 speed on my character. I'm sure to a detriment, but like there was turns I had 15 foundations before I flipped. I have no interest on flipping for no reason. I just won't do it. I have no interest. Because once you get past your 9, you don't have to build one down to flip. You can just press the button and flip when you want to. Right?
In that same idea, also interesting because I know you were doing certain attack packages here, but I know a lot of people are talking about like false visage in this character.
Yes.
That's another one of those attuned attacks that you can kind of be on whatever symbol to do. I know you're not on life, so like you're not playing the immortal shapeshifters for like the turbo.
That's the reason it wasn't here.
Life.
It was on the list and it got cut because I was like, I just don't think I gain enough life. And even then, I think I'm bad with this little 12 card life package. I think that I'm just like not very good with it. I don't see the lines correctly. Like I just it's just not for me. So
Fair enough.
yeah. Last deck. Annie Lionheart. What a cool
How
one.
dare you think I just took Bromley's deck? I would never do that. But we have a little bit of an homage to it. My thing is like Bromley's deck is doing a bunch of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I know since he's gonna flame me because like he has since then changed his deck to be a lot more linear in what's going on. But the idea was to play Harness on Death as a good card, you need obviously these 3 symbols. And I think if you're going to play Harness on Death as a deck that uses it for its full potential,
Sure.
you have to play an amount of backups. You need to get at least 1 or 2 backups in your stage so you can give it echo. And you need a pretty consistent way of generating momentum to make this echo move go. We talked about Jester. I know you have a Jester list that is doing some Harness and Death deck. I think Annie is in the same category, more so as a 7-hander that can do this same thing because she has Chaos and Life.
Totally.
So the idea is she gives Harness and Death throw, meaning you can play less total copies in a turn because if it has throw, it will hit, and if it hits, you burn your opponent. I was trying to figure out what this deck looks like because I have this in different versions and different characters. But I thought the main gimmick was, I'm going to put the Emerge Victorious Colossus Titan Attacks combo, which is you sack a backup, you play 0 Titan backups in your deck. So Emerge Victorious basically mills off the top of your deck until you find the only shift attack in your deck, which is Colossus Titan Attacks, because that's the best one. Form, make your opponent discard 2 cards and flip 2 of their foundations. And then also, it's the best backup to sacrifice for Harness on Death. Because when you sacrifice it, you draw a card.
Yep.
And you give your Harness on Death echo. So the idea was, I'm going to make a combo deck. I'm going to put 14 attacks in my giant fucking brick of a deck. Because eventually we'll just build a stage. We only need 1 or 2 momentum to make the game plan work. And so I took a lot of like what Bromley was doing, and I gave it a shot, and it was cool. I had a good time. The idea is at any given point in the game, if you play against like 7-handers, you can just make a thing throw, enhance wound restores from hand. Say you're gonna burn them more before you give it throw. Turn all your duplers sideways, and you just dome your opponent for 1,000,000 damage. But it also still has to function as like a defensive deck while also doing the Harness and Death thing. So Inspiring Song, this card's just very good, but it mills you 3. It puts backups in your discard pile. Hunter's Ally helps you get a backup in there. I'm playing Emerging Threats as well in my deck because if you want to trigger Emerge Victorious or give Harness on Death Echo, you need a backup in your stage. So we play a bunch of them in case you draw them, play as a form, build it down, or you play like a Hunter's Ally and you get one in your stage, while also just playing generically good life foundations. Meeting Hanj, broken if you're playing a backup deck.
Yes.
This card draws you 3 cards. The 3 didn't matter because we're playing 4 checks and also low attack counts. And then you just play a bunch of things that synergize with Hanj, which is things like resting up because your character is almost always committed. Incredible Display is a strong card for protecting your combos because you can generate momentum just with your character. Replicator Enthusiast helps you get more duplers on the field, and you play strong assets because assets are really good in the game right now. You have to play a pretty wide range of backups, specifically because you can't play the Titan ones, which are the better ones, in my opinion. Cards like Keg and Spiraling Fetch are kind of whatever. But the good news is, on the backside of Annie, if you ever have to try and maybe play a longer game, she does say lose a life, and you can block with any backup in your stage. It doesn't have to be a Titan backup. So you play a bunch of good block spreads on your backups, and you block from them with your stage. And with cards like Desperate Plea, I did get to pull it off a little bit on stream.
Yeah.
But Riani plus Desperate Plea with Annie Lionheart is infinite blocks, infinite mid blocks.
Yeah.
As long as you flip foundations in your stage for Riani's effect to unflip your Desperate Plea. Which is really cool. I think that's really cool.
It was very cool technology that I absolutely loved. It was so neat just to watch this chain block over and over and over again. And it like Annie has historically not been a very good character, not very highly competitive. This is a combo list. I think Riani plus Desperate Plea absolutely belongs in every Annie deck from now on. Like just that idea is like so good. And her backside, like, man, commit a foundation for +2/+2 is a good ass ability. It's just a good ability, right? Like that's not what you're focusing on, but like there's a world where like the only defense that you need is playing Riani and grabbing the and reblocking with Desperate, or you they attacked Riani and they didn't attack your 22 health 7-hander, and then like you just like kill them on the backside by committing your stage and like playing out a bunch of moves. Like it's very very cool.
I obviously built this deck very quickly. As you will point out the obvious flaws, just like how you have a 100-card list. If you scroll down and hit stats for me, the biggest flaw of this deck is that I didn't know what to cut because it is a 91-card brick with 55 mid blocks.
That is
because a lot of the mid blocks are the combo pieces that the deck is trying to do. I just wanted to show the deck for people to give it a shot. I do think Harness Undeath decks can exist in our format.
Yeah.
This is a version of what one of those can look like. I was getting cheeky, and I put the Emerge Victorious and Colossus Titan Attacks combo in my deck. I put one copy of the 13 diff because maybe I drew it when I had a big enough stage and I could put you in prison and blow up your whole stage.
That's so crazy.
I knew it wasn't going to be successful this week because your roster was very, very good at not letting me get away with this.
Yeah.
But I still wanted to show the deck off because I don't think I'm going to play this character any point later on.
Yeah.
So this one was kind of a throwaway for me, but I think the idea is there, and I just wanted to put it for people to see.
I dig it. Well, we are running super behind, so let's get to the draft. I will set all of that up real quick.
That you already had.
I just forgot to pull up the draft itself. It is here. And then I come back, and then I turn you off. My account, draft. And then I come here, we come back. Hey, there it is. I can zoom in just a smidge more. Oh, you know what? We come all the way down here, we go presentation mode. Lovely. Okay, so here is our draft. I'm going to go ahead and push back all the chaff here and here. So I made Ford and Caleb for community game night because they're characters that I haven't really like messed around with, and they were both very bad. And so I was like, there's no way that I can.
Ford is fine. I think Ford is fine. I think the problem with Ford is like it's a little boring to play.
Sure.
But I think the deck is like, I think Ford's a real pick for like probably like weeks 5 and 6 of our thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, in my opinion, I think that attack package is so solved, and it's just like
it's pretty limited.
What foundations you want to play, and it's just like, okay, like you pick your best one, pick what you want to do, but like looping is ultra rare every turn is very good, and Mariner's Spellbolt is a fucker's card.
That card's so crazy. If you just like don't have the mid block for it, you're just like mother.
And if you do.
I don't want to.
Gives multiple instances of frenzy to his Spellbolt.
Yeah.
So if you blocked his moves earlier on, or you blocked the first Mariner Spellbolt, the second one might come in with 2/2, 3/3, whatever.
Yeah.
And it scales, right? It multiplies. So it's like, I think the deck's got some gas. He's just very, I'm a 6-hander, has to play a move to get my good move, yada yada yada. So like, I think he's fine, but he has Selective Seal.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and toss my 2 fish back, and it is going to be Ford and Caleb. I'm just not interested. Not this week, at least. So
that's fair.
Next week, I have to play either Hanji or Beast Titan.
That's fine. I already know which one it'll be. Anyway, I will toss back, Elder Toguro, and Crystal Lens.
Crystal Lens. There it is. So you lost this week. Spoilers for everybody at home. Sorry about it. Spoilers. So you get to pick this week. First on the draft. We've already played Godzilla? Am I crazy? We played it week 1.
It's not on my draft.
You didn't grab Godzilla?
I haven't grabbed Godzilla.
Hmm.
That character's lame and boring.
I thought we did.
I mean, do the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Guess not.
We've played 2 weeks.
All right, fair enough.
So 8 and 8.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. I mean, you can have them. I'm not gonna fucking pick them.
I just thought I put him in the wrong spot. That's all it was.
Man, first pick, huh?
First pick. Let me know if you want to scroll. Think out loud as you're doing it.
I have Ultra on the side.
Okay.
Think out loud. Okay, let's see. Well, you've tied it up because I've already won week 1, so I have to try again. I have to keep my lead up. That I know that I will get back. I'm trying to think. What did we see at Denver? So the problem is that all the Denver characters that have top cut are either picked or played. So that doesn't help. I don't get to be lazy this week.
It's like we knew.
Yeah. I think there's some very obvious choices here. And I think one of those obvious choices is that I just have to pick Izuku Midoriya on the move. Because it forces you to draft around this character.
Yep. Okay. Easy enough. That is your first pick. My pick, I'm going to pick a Reiner Braun Warrior. And then now I have to figure out how to fight Midoriya.
You're like, I want this one for fun, and now I got to fucking try.
I got to try. I think it's just supposed to be Mikasa 1. Just because like I know that I like this character. I already have a list for this character, and I'm down to just like polish that list.
Fair. Well, for the sake of not giving you good aggro characters, I guess I'll take Godzilla.
Sure.
Fair. And I would like Elder Toguro back, please.
Yeah, makes sense. On to me. Well, hey, there's a Godzilla over here that I could grab.
Ooh, pick that one.
That one's. I mean, that's a Godzilla. Who doesn't?
No, you would just
Godzilla?
pick Bionic Menace before that because you play that guy.
Yeah, for sure. What the fuck can fight Midoriya? That guy's so good. That guy's so good.
Well, I already Devon Racer's out.
Yeah. I'm going to pick. Man, I don't want to pick the other Reiner because it would be bad for thumbnails.
There's a total of 8 characters for thumbnails, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, but if I played both, then like, yeah, rough. You know what? I will pick Reiner. If that tells you, I will be playing only one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I care more about the content than our stupid little thing. That was 2 for me. No, that was not 2. That was not 2.
No, you need one more.
1, 2. I need one more. Let's go. You know what? We're not seeing enough of it. Let's go Mirko.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's go Mirko.
I have a funny story about Mirko later.
Oh, yeah.
I got to do it for my guy because I don't have to build the deck. I'm going to pick Scanlan Shorthalt.
Yeah. Love
I think that deck's real cool.
That deck is cool. Certainly put a lot of respect on that character for me.
Yeah, I'm going to pick that deck. I think that deck's really cool. Spoilers, I'm not going to build it. I'm going to steal it.
Totally
if I play it this week, who knows? We might keep him on the bench and play him later. Do I care about any of these Critical Role characters? Man, who does beat Midoriya?
Yeah, this is
Right.
This is tough. I think the answer is these guys, and which is where it's at.
Which is why it's good to be first pick this week. You hate him, you love him. I'll pick Irwin Smith, 13th Commander of the Survey Corps.
Yeah.
And it's back to you.
I think you have
Your last two.
Oh, my last two. I'm gonna pick King Ghidorah.
There's no shot you play that deck.
And then I think we pick Bert 1. Bert 1. Those are my last two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So you have one last
I get one
pick
more
for me.
Sure. I love this guy, so I'll pick Jean Kirstein, the first one.
Yeah. I thought about hate drafting him, but I think that's lame. So I thought I would just let you have him.
No, I'm gonna hate draft just a little more from you the entire time that we do this.
That's okay. I am not meaning to hate draft Hanji Zoe. I've made 3 decks and I've not liked them, so I've just left her on the bench or left them on the bench and
You
been
want
like,
to play the turn 2 deck?
I took it and went, nah. It was very funny.
Well, you got to play her or Beast Titan.
I do have to play her or Beast Titan. With that, thank you all for watching this episode of the top 8 recap. This was a fun one. I really liked this week. Again, I thought all the decks were dripping with personality outside of Pony. And it was a very fun event. I'm surprised we got so fun on week 2. And I think that this next week is going to be just as much fun. I'm excited. It's going to be dope. So with that, thank you for watching. And as always, I wish you well.